name is Mariah Gates, and I have you for a 30-minute yoga class today to break up your day, which I think is pretty awesome. Little backstory about me: I'm originally from Canada, hence the accent, and am now living in Australia and have been here for about 8 years. And I've been practicing yoga for about 13. So we're gonna have a bunch of fun today, I hope you enjoy the class. I know that there are gonna be people who are beginners just starting their yoga journey, and there's gonna be some of you, I'm sure, who have been practicing a lot. So I know that there'll be kind of all levels in this class. So we'll just take it together, modify as needed. You can absolutely, I encourage you to listen to your body. So if something doesn't feel right in your body today, please, by all means, don't do it. Think up another option. I will give you other options for some poses. So as much as I'm guiding you, I encourage you to be your own guide through this practice. So we're just gonna start in a child's pose at the back of the mat. I will be demoing both this way and this way on the mat. So I'll be moving around just so that you can see the poses a little bit better. So child's pose, back of the mat. I'll go this way. You can bring your big toes to touch. We'll take a wide knee child's pose. So big toes to touch, knees apart. And then just walk the hands forward, fold over the legs here. And you can bring your forehead to the mat. In child's pose, you begin to start to send the hips back towards the heels. So the hips or the sit bones start to soften towards the heels. And in our yoga classes, we also focus in on the breath. So begin to feel the breath moving in and out of the body. Maybe relaxing the belly a little bit more here. And maybe you can feel your side ribs and your back ribs expand and contract with the breath. One more round of breath here in this shape. And then begin to walk the hands over to the right. So walk the hands over to the right. Reach long through the left hand and press the left hip back towards the heel. So you find this big stretch down the left side waist here. A nice opening through the left side waist. One more big round of breath here. And then we come through center and go over in the opposite direction. So same thing, opposite side, reach out through that right hand, press the right hip back, the right sit bone back, and that big, beautiful stretch down that right side waist this time. One more round of breath here. Come on back through center now and come up to tabletop position. So hands are underneath of the shoulders, knees are underneath of the hips, and we'll find cat-cow. So inhale, open up through the chest, maybe look up towards the ceiling, tailbone rises. And then exhale, round through the spine, tailbone drops, look towards your navel. Inhale to open. And exhale to round. One more like that. Inhale, open. Pull the heart through. And then exhale, round. Come back through a neutral spine. So reach out through the crown of the head and out through the sit bones. Engage the core here. So think steadiness through the core. And then raise your right hand by stabling through the core. And if you can, raise the left foot. Point the toes down towards the ground. Inhale to lengthen, reach to the heel and the fingertips. And then exhale to round again, elbow to knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to round. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale to round. One more. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, round. And then release hand and knee to mat. Opposite side now, again, steady through the core. Raise the left hand, raise that right leg, reach long through the fingertips and through the heel, inhale. And then exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to lengthen. Elbow to knee. One more here. Inhale, lengthen, grow long. And then exhale, round through the spine. And then release hand and knee, come back through center. Step the hands forward about 1 hand span here now. Tuck the toes under, fingertips spread really wide on the mat, and then send the sit bones nice and high, coming into downward facing dog. So here, you can pedal out the feet if that feels right, but do it really mindfully. So do it nice and slowly, really feeling the backs of the legs stretch as you release one heel to the mat and then the next. Maybe one more little pedal either side. And then come to stillness. So really set your downward facing dog up. A gentle bend in the knees, the sit bones come a little bit higher towards the ceiling. And then you knit the low ribs in. So you're creating this upside down V with the body, essentially. The heels eventually start to move towards the mat, but you don't want to lock out the legs here and then round through the spine. So keep the knees gently bent, and you can keep a flat, long spine here. Downward facing dog is a pose that we do a lot in yoga. So it might feel challenging at first, but it does become a resting pose over time. From here, shift forward into a plank pose. So you might have to shift the hands back underneath of the shoulders here. And if you need to, drop the knees. If it feels like too much for the core or the back, you can drop the knees to the ground. Here we do a gentle forwards and backwards rock to warm up the wrists, maybe even side to side, but again, you can do this on the knees. Keep the back and the neck long here and press really firmly into the floor. And then here, everybody drop their knees to the ground, untuck your toes, shift the shoulders past the wrists, and begin to lower down really, really slowly, working the arms all the way to the ground. Press the tops of the feet into the ground. Hands are underneath of the shoulders. Hug the shoulder blades in towards one another. Peel open the chest. Inhale here, baby cobra. Stay for the exhale. Switch the glutes on if they're not already. So the glutes are on and the core is switched on, and that helps us to protect the low back. And then release nose to mat. One more up. Inhale to hold here, exhale, stay. And then float the palms as well. Continue breathing, obviously. But float to the palms here. So notice all of the work that the back is doing to keep you lifted up. And then release the hands back down. So you want to think 20% hands on the mat, 80% back. So it's this 20-80 rule in baby cobra. And then release nose to mat. Roll over the knees. Send the sit bones high, downward facing dog. Come to stillness right away in your downward facing dog. Raise your right heel up towards the ceiling. Get that right heel nice and high. Draw the knee in towards the chest now. And step the foot on through in between the palms. Come onto the fingertips. Fingertip lunge. Drop the back knee to the ground. Untuck the back toes. Hands come up overhead. So set yourself up with a stable base here. Tailbone reaches down towards the back knee. If your right hip is popping out to the side, draw it back in, and you're really strong through the pelvis and the core. Hands come up overhead. Reach high up out of the hips. And then release the right hand down. Reach up and over to the right with the left. Keep that top arm nice and straight. And again, you can probably feel that big stretch down that left side waist here. Maybe a little look up towards the ceiling. And then both hands come up overhead. Again, still stable through the core. Bend into the elbows, cactus arms. Inhale, open. And exhale to round. Inhale, open. Exhale to round, kind of like our cat-cows that we did on the ground. Inhale, open. Exhale to round. Back through. Inhale, open. Reach the hands high. Beautiful. And then frame the front foot. Coming into a bit of a runner's lunge or straightening this front leg. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna allow the hips to come forward a little bit, and then we're gonna begin with pushing the hips back, straightening the front leg, dorsiflexing the toes, so the toes move towards this knee. So notice how it feels when the toes are just floppy, and then dorsiflex the foot, and so the toes move towards the knee. That's a dorsiflex of the foot. Beautiful. Try to draw this right hip back a little bit as well. Notice if that's popping out to the side. Draw the right hip back. And come forward. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Coming on back, dorsiflexing the foot. Come forward. And then come on back, dorsiflexing that front foot. Amazing. Fold over that front leg a little bit more. Big stretch down the back of the leg. So hamstring stretch here. You might even feel it through the ankle as well, or the calf. And then coming on forward, plant the palms, step back into your plank pose. If you need to drop the knees here, and we'll lower all the way down to the ground, nice and slowly, working the core and the arms and the legs here. And then coming up, baby cobra at 20-80. And then pressing back, downward facing dog. This time, raise the left heel up. Draw the knee in towards the chest, shift shoulders over wrists, and step the foot on through, coming into a fingertip lunge, and then drop the back knee. Untuck the back toes, hands come up overhead, same thing, opposite side. So again, stable through the pelvis and the core. Release this left hand down and reach up and over to the left. Maybe a little look up towards the ceiling. And you might find that you're feeling this stretch down the front of the right hip here. So that's a hip flexor stretch or a psoas stretch. And it's really nice if you've been sitting at your desk all day. Hands can come back up overhead here. And then inhale, cactus arms. Open up through the chest. Exhale, round through the spine. Inhale to open. Exhale to round. Inhale to open. And exhale, round. Inhale, open. Hands come up overhead. Hands frame the front foot now. Coming into this little lunge, shifting the hips forward. And then straightening that front leg, dorsiflexing the front foot. So again, just think about floppy toes and then a dorsiflex. And notice how that feels. Floppy toes and a dorsiflex. All right, coming on forward now into that lunge. And then press back, straightening the front leg. Come forward. And straighten. Amazing. And here, we'll stay here. Think about drawing that left hip back a little bit more. So notice if it's popping out to the side. Draw it back. And maybe a little bit more of a fold over that leg. Big stretch down the back of the leg. Come on forward, frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, step back plank. Shift the shoulders past the wrists, press the hands firmly into the floor. Drop the knees if you need to, otherwise keep the knees up and lower down, super slow, building that strength. Untuck the toes, come on up, baby cobra, using the strength of the back. And then nose to mat, tuck the toes under, press back, downward facing dog. Come to stillness in your down dog straight away. And then here, inhale, heels rise. Exhale, bend the knees. Little steps all the way up to the top of your mat. So hang out at the top of your mat in a dangle. So knees can stay bent here as well. Knees can stay bent, sit bones up towards the ceiling. And you're almost, well, you're touching your torso to your thighs. So bend the knees so deeply to the torso it's actually touching the thighs. And then if it feels okay for you, you can grab a hold of opposite elbows here and find a gentle little sway from side to side. Just one more round of breath here. Release the arms and slowly roll like you're stacking one vertebra on top of the other. All the way up through to standing, a little unravel. Step the feet to hip distance apart if they're not already. So you have been noticing that I am cueing the breath throughout the class. If you'd like to practice your Ujjai Breath, this pranayama technique that we use in yoga, slight toning of the belly, slight restriction to the back of the throat. It kind of sounds like the waves of the ocean. And you're breathing in and out through the nose. So the lips are together, you're breathing in and out through the nose. Maybe just a little reminder to begin to practice this again. Sweep the hands up overhead. Inhale. And then exhale to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift here. Reach out through the crown of the head, tailbone. And then release. Forward fold. Two more like that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. One more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. Unravel, roll all the way back up to standing. Hands up, overhead. Pull hands through heart center. Coming into a few different balancing poses now. So hands come up overhead and then draw the left knee into the chest. Stork Pose. Can you ground down through your right heel a lot and get that knee even higher? So here we are in Stork Pose. Hands can float through center as we start to send that left leg out behind us, aeroplane. So hands come along the sides of the body, palms face in. If you find yourself wobbling about or challenging the balance here, that's totally okay. I'm wobbling as well. It's almost like you're standing on the back wall. And then gently bend that front knee, step that back foot down nice and gently, and we'll come on up into a crescent lunge. Bend off the back knee gently here as well. Tailbone like it's reaching down towards the ground. So it takes out that hard arch out of your low back, similar to what we did on the ground. So crescent lunge here. Maybe get a little lower in your crescent lunge, and then pivot open, warrior two. So your front knee is stacked over top of your front ankle here. Back toes are turned in slightly, or the edge of your back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. And you're opening up through this front hip here. So it's almost like your front inner thigh is opening up towards the ceiling. Hands reach out, opposite directions here. Warrior two. Get a little lower in that front lunge if you can. And then flip and reverse your warrior. So back hand slides down the back thigh, front palm flips. Maybe looking up towards the ceiling, and then coming over into an extended side angle pose. So reaching out long through those top fingertips, maybe even rolling the bottom ribs up towards the ceiling. Steady through the core, maybe this bottom elbow floats. Come back up, warrior two. Straighten the front leg, turn the front toes in, hands come up overhead. And then now we hinge forward over the leg, wide leg forward fold here. Open up, halfway lift on the inhale. And then exhale. Crown of the head is reaching towards the floor. So bring more weight into the toes than into the heels. And keep the legs really active here. So you're not just dropping into this pose. The legs are super active. One more round of breath here. And then look to your front foot, your right foot, pivot towards it. Frame that front foot, step the front foot back, plank pose, lower down slowly all the way to the ground. Inhale, open, baby cobra. And then press back, downward facing dog. Amazing. Stay here for a moment. And then inhale, float the heels. Exhale, bend the knees. This time, step hop, float, top of mat. Inhale, halfway lift, legs on. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, sweep the hands up high overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Same thing, opposite side now. Reach the hands up nice and high, plant down through the left heel, get that right leg high, that right knee high, stork pose, draw the knee in towards the chest. Amazing work, get it up a little bit higher. And then hands can float through the heart center here. And again, like you're standing on the back wall, coming into airplane pose, hands along by the sides here, hold it, core is engaged. You're reaching out long through the crown of your head, and then slow descent, back toes touch the ground. Hands come up overhead, again finding this crescent lunge. Bending off the back knee, tailbone reaches down towards the ground, maybe getting a little bit lower. Legs switched on, almost like you're scissoring the mat closed as well. So front heel is pulling back, back toes are pulling forward. Pelvis is engaged, so pelvis is strong here. Get a little lower, open up, warrior two. Front toes point forward. Front knee stacked over front ankle, and reach forwards and backwards here. Beautiful, get a little lower into that front lunge. You've got a little lower. Back palm slides down the back thigh. Flip that front palm. Reversing the warrior and then coming over. Extended side angle, opposite side. So elbow can be on the thigh, but can you use the core to stay engaged here? So you're not dropping into it. It's not floppy. You're super strong. Beautiful, get a little lower, maybe float that bottom elbow. You've got it. And then come back up through warrior two. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes in, hands come up overhead, hands come through heart center, coming into that forward fold again. This part is super strong, so we're gonna add on a little bit here. Can you walk your hands out in front? This part gets super challenging. So plant the palms down into the ground. Palms are underneath the shoulders. Ground down through your left foot. Can you raise your right foot off the ground? Yee, so hard. And other side. Ground down through your hands. Can you raise your off the ground. Perfect. One more time, either side. Right foot. And again, other side, left foot. Little hover. And release. Beautiful. Walk the hands back in. Forward fold. Hands come to hips. Can you flat back all the way up to standing? Bend the knees. Flat back all the way up to standing. Hands come overhead. Beautiful. Turn into your warrior two. So friendly, stacking over the front ankle. And then cartwheel the hands either side of the front foot. Step the front foot back to meet the back foot. Shift forward. If you need to drop the knees, and lower slowly all the way down. Baby cobra, inhale. And then exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Float the heels, inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. Step hop, float, top of mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, sweep the hands high up overhead, pulling the hands back through heart center. Close down the eyes. Settle back into your breath. Notice if the heart rate has gone up at all. Can you slow it down? Few breaths in and out. Open up the eyes now. Sweep the hands up overhead again. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, plant the palms. You can cross the legs and come to lie on your back. Here, just a couple of back bends to finish. We're going to do bridge pose. So draw the heels in so that you can tickle them with the fingertips and then just move them away. So you kind of approximately want to stack the heels underneath of the knees. Keep looking directly up at the ceiling and have robot arms here. So robot arms are arms pressing down to the ground, fingertips reaching up towards the ceiling, press down through the heels and then raise the hips up. Roll on back down. So try to peel the hips up one vertebra at a time. So notice the tailbone peeling off the ground and then every little segment after that. And then release back down. Just one more like that, rolling up. Tailbone rises first and we'll stay with the hips up at the top. Stay here. Coming to rest on the backs of the shoulders. So not the neck, the backs of the shoulders. Here, you can release the hands down if that feels okay, or stick with the robot arms and walk the shoulder blades underneath the back. So towards one another, clasp the hands here. Pull the hands towards the heels, heels towards the hands. Fire up through the glutes. Get a little bit higher here. Hips a little higher. And then release your clasp and roll on down. Again, one vertebra at a time. Amazing. Little windshield wiper of the knees from side to side, just to release the low back. And we'll finish with a little twist here. So here, draw the knees into the chest. Send the left leg long, right knee into chest. Right knee draws across the body. So you might need to shuffle the hips to the right a little bit here. Right knee draws across the body. Left leg is nice and long on the mat, or if that's uncomfortable for the back, you can draw both knees in. Looking out over top of this right shoulder. If the right shoulder is hovering and the knee's on the ground, can you get the knee off of the ground and attach the shoulder to the floor? To Just a couple of rounds of breath here in this twist. Maybe closing down the eyes. And coming back through center, engage the core switch is on. Again, come back through center. And then this time, the left knee draws in, right leg is long. Right leg or left knee sweeps across the body, maybe hips shuffle to the left a little. And then open up and look to the left. You can have your right hand on your knee as a little bit of support here, grounding it down, but make sure that that left shoulder stays on the ground. Again, another couple of rounds of breath here. And then core switches on again. Come back through center. Beautiful. Any last little movements, like a hug of the knees in. Any little circles of the knees from side to side. And we'll just finish on our backs and just a little mini Shavasana. So Shavasana is a lovely way that we finish our practice. It's a relaxation pose, and it helps to integrate all of the other poses that we've done in our practice together. So feet fall apart, hands fall out to the sides, palms face up. Everything is heavy. And if you can, close down the eyes. If that feels uncomfortable, by all means, you can keep the eyes open. And then just have another little check-in with the breath. How does the breath feel in the body now? How does the body feel? Do you feel a little bit more relaxed than you did at the beginning of class? There's no right or wrong answer. It just is what it is. So if you have the time, you can continue resting in Shavasana. But if you are finishing the practice with the rest of us, you can have a little roll over onto one side. Give yourself a little squeeze in fetal position. And we'll then roll on up through to seated, a comfortable seat. It's nice to finish the practice together with hands at heart center. So keeping the eyes closed down if it's comfortable. Grow tall here, inhale. And then exhale, bow head to heart. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, ladies. I hope you enjoyed that class, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Amazing. See you.